Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Beckham. I'm an amateur photographer and I recently posted a video that showed my approach to photography. It laid out my modus operandi, my MO. Now, as a result of that, someone did ask what I do from the shooting of the images onwards. Now, that question gave me the idea to this short video because I thought it was quite an interesting question. So let's just assume for a moment that I've been down the beach tonight to photograph the sunset and maybe catch the best light of the day. So what do I do when I get home? I think the first thing to say about anything we do around our photography, especially from the time when we're considering downloading images, is to have a routine. But whether I've shot 20 images or 200, the first thing I do as soon as I get my camera bag back indoors and I place it on the bench is that I remove my camera batteries and I put them on charge. So that next time I go out, I know I'm going out with a fully charged set and they're not about to let me down. I have a couple of spare Canon battery chargers in my computer room. They're permanently connected to the mains and they never move from the corner of the bench and they're easily visible. What I don't want to happen is to get out in front of a really great scene one evening only to realise my batteries are still at home in their chargers. Now, if I was going away for a few days or maybe even longer, I don't have to unplug and take these chargers with me because I've got a couple of others. Those, along with mains cables, are in a convenient bag that I can just pick up and walk away with. That bag also contains cables and chargers for my iPhone, iPad, AirPods and my drone. My next job is to remove the media cards from my camera, and I use a USB card reader to download the images to my computer. I've never ever connected a camera to my computer for download purposes. I've always used the USB card readers. They're also great to download while away from home via a laptop, and they've never let me down. Once the card is placed into the reader, of course, Adobe Bridge will automatically open the import dialog, and I'll browse and create a folder with the name of where the images were shot. On this particular evening, it could be anything, but this particular set of images was shot at Curramundi Lake. That folder will be located in another folder labelled for the year and the month. I do not and have never tagged or catalogued images. As an amateur, I can see no benefit to me whatsoever. Many acquaintances I've had over the years have claimed that they've had a great catalogue system. But in truth, most of them were not able to summon the dedication and perseverance required to keep a tagging and catalogue system going. It appeared to me to be very much like a New Year's resolution. They start off with very good intentions, but they're quickly abandoned. Now, the moment you stop tagging and cataloguing images, even for a short time, your catalogue system falls flat. Either everything needs to be included all the time or nothing at all. Now, I've chosen over many years nothing at all, although I do place my images in what I think is a logical folder order. It would be a completely different thing if I were a professional. I'd have to consider something completely different then. Once the images are downloaded to the computer and I can see the thumbnails, I very rarely sort or discard any images, even if I've shot quite a number of exposure bracketed shots, maybe of a similar nature. Why is that? Firstly, it gets tedious doing that, and there's then the possibility of dumping good images by mistake. I'd rather spend that time creating images, not shuffling them around. Secondly, Many times over the years, I have found good images that I'd overlooked at the time of downloading. Images that may have been sitting in a folder for months or maybe even years. Then one day, when I'm browsing, I see something in them I never appreciated before. Those images could have easily been deleted. Thirdly, over time, our skill levels with image editing is going to improve, and so will the editing software itself. Now that can and has made quite a difference to me over the years. I only ever shoot raw images. I never shoot JPEGs or a combination of the two. They are downloaded to a large internal drive in my PC, and they're backed up on an external drive. Now this external drive is actually a SATA drive that you would normally see installed inside the computer. I access that drive via a small USB docking station. When the drive fills up, I'll buy another drive and drop it into that docking station for access. I do exactly the same thing with edited and completed images, so I always have my images safely stored in two places. At the present time, I have every digital image I've ever taken stored on my computer's internal hard drive. Now this is going to be exactly the same type of SATA drive that I use for my backup. The size of that internal drive is currently 6 TB, but larger drives are available, and I'm sure at some stage in the future I may need to get one of those. I store all of my original images in one place for convenience and the ability to go back as far as I want or need to when I'm browsing. I also take advantage of online cloud storage via Mediafire, which I've been using for quite some years. I use them for my completed images, my finished images, not for my raw files. But I also use that storage for my YouTube videos, like the one you're viewing here. So all of my completed and finished images are stored in actually 3 places. They're on my internal PC hard drive for my convenience, so they're always there for any projects I dream up. They're on that external SATA drive, which I access through the docking station. But those images are also stored on Mediafire as JPEGs, but saved at a compression level of 12, high-resolution images. So back to the download process. Once my images are downloaded to the PC and they're backed up on that SATA drive, my media cards are immediately formatted in the camera. I almost never add one day's images to another on those media cards, even when travelling and away from home. A routine way of working, especially with the amount of images many of us shoot, is fairly important, I think. I know it's an old cliche, but if we do some work little and often, it doesn't become a chore. Once I have my images safely stored on my computer, I find that applying coloured labels to the images is a great way to decide which of them I want to manipulate and maybe which of them I'll come back to another day. Those labels work pretty well for me. My image manipulation is done one image at a time, simply because every single image we shoot is going to be unique and it requires that approach. I can't find a global way to inject the sort of style into my images that I want. It has to be a hands-on, one at a time manipulation process. On a rare occasion when I may have a batch of images to create, maybe for a slideshow where I want the colour, density, clarity to be much the same between all images, in that case I'll carry out the global editing on one image and then using Photoshop's bridge, I'll copy that to the remainder of the images, but then I will open up each image separately and apply any strategic editing where I think it's required. As an amateur photographer, there's no time pressure on me at all. It's ultimate quality that I want to achieve, and I want that result consistently. Now, if I get lucky one day and I can achieve that with a 5-minute edit, well, that's great. But if it takes me 20 minutes or longer, then so be it. Good images generally have balance. There will be balance of tone, clarity, colour and contrast. Now that requires solid image editing techniques and attention to detail. Now we live in a world where that approach seems to be a little bit more rare these days than it once was. And the quick shortcut, or what I often call the search for the Holy Grail, is what many people seek. Now in truth, there's no such thing. Anything of merit takes effort. Thanks for watching, and I hope there was something in the approach I have laid out in this video that you may have found helpful. I'll see you next time.